Hello YouTube, welcome back to the tutorial. So far we have built the welcome screen, which is the first screen. If you didn't watch the first tutorial, I'm gonna put a link on the card above to you to check it out first, because this tutorial is a follow-up from the previous one. And today we're gonna build the next screen, which is the categories screen. When you tap get started, we go to the categories screen. We have this grid of categories and we can scroll, and we also have a search bar. All right, so let's get to it. So here is where we're left out. We have the welcome view and welcome view controller. First of all, let's separate the welcome view in a different file. Click Command N, Swift file. It's called welcome view, just to organize a little our code. Okay, welcome view, and then we can just cut and paste. This should be UIKit. Okay, all right, thing looking good. So the first thing I want to do is set up the navigation from this view to the next. All right, so let's just create the categories view controller so we can navigate to that, and then we can set up the views and everything. All right, so go to the controllers folder, Command N, choose Cocoa Touch class. Let's call it categories view controller, UI view controller. We don't need to create shape file. Okay, next. Okay, inside controllers, fine. Okay, we have this view controller here. So I just want to set the color to red so we get a clear visual that the controller is correct. Okay, background color dot red. Let's build and run. Everything seems to be building. Nothing is gonna happen yet, but we have our welcome screen. On the tab, nothing happened, and it's fine, it's expected. So okay, now how we can set up the navigation. Remember that we have that class Halter, so we need to set up the navigation here, because this class is responsible to manage all the navigation of the app. So I'm gonna create another function here. Let's say push categories view controller. And we have here some helpers methods that push and pop. So here's a func. Okay, so I'm gonna push the categories view controller when this method is called, right? So I need to create here let controller categories view controller. Okay, and then I need to push it, right? So I need to call push controller. But all controllers need halters. Okay, so if I'm on this controller and I need to navigate to another, I need a halter inside this controller, right? So go to the categories controller and create a halter. Oh, this should be a var halter. Init halter. Okay, it's probably gonna complain. Yeah, coordinate, just fix. Okay, let's build. Okay, I didn't call super init here. Let's call it. You see, this is required because I'm inheriting from the UI view controller. Okay, so I need to pass to the initialization of the controller. Okay, cool. Let's build. Then it's failed. Okay, you need to pass the parameter here. So which is the controller that controls how the app? This one. I mean, which halter controls the app? Is this halter? So I just need to pass self, right? Because I'm just saying that the halter for this controller is this halter itself. Let's build and run. Okay, everything looking good. So now we need to set up the click event of the categories view controller. All right. So no, I mean of the welcome view controller. But you see, I need to call it the halter here, but the event is inside welcome view. All right, the controller should be responsible to control all the events. So in the welcome view, I need to pass through this event of the click to the view controller. This view should be dumb, should not be controlling events. Okay, so that's why I'm gonna create a closure. Let's see, the tab start button, the tab start. Okay, so what I want to do is special closure here, a function as a type. What this means? This means that I'm passing a function as a type that takes no parameters and returns nothing. Okay, because I just want to send the message to the controller that the button was tapped, and this should be optional, because if it's not optional, I need to pass this on initialization of the view, and I want to set this later. All right, so what this means, I put here dtap start. Since it's optional, you need a question mark, and then I call it. Well, when I tap here the button, it will call the digstop button and will call the closure. All right, so now I want to pass the closure to the welcome view controller. All right, so here on the setup, I'm gonna call it like welcome view dtap start. This is a closure, right? So I need to call it. So what I want to do when I click dtap start, I want to call the halter and then call the push categories, right? I made it private. Oh, this is just a habit. This should not be private. Okay, so go to the welcome view, halter dot push category view controller. So when I tap start, I'm gonna call this closure, and the halter is gonna push the controller. All right, but this is a closure. It can lead to a memory leak, so I need to wikify the self here. Self in. I'm not getting to memory leaks on this tutorial, maybe in another tutorial, but yeah, this is important. Okay, oh, in. Okay, self here is optional. We can unwrap it here as well, but let's self equal self else return. Okay, let's build and run. All right, so let's see. So we have here the welcome view. When I tap get started, I move to the red screen, which is the category screen, right? So what is happening here? I'm just passing this closure to the event of the button, and when the button is pressed, it calls the dtap start and tell the controller that this dtap start was clicked, so it will execute this block. All right, so imagine if you need to pass an information. Let's say in the welcome view the user puts some, you know, login data like name and password. So here in the closure we just pass through it, just put here like string, so we receive the string and there's nothing. So we're just gonna pass here like from the text field. Let's say, I mean, there's a text field on the view and I get the string from the text field. I'm just put here braces, just text from text field. All right, so in this way I'm gonna pass this text to the controller. So I'm just gonna get here the text, okay, and use it in the controller in any way I need. Okay, so this is how important this concept is. So you can send messages between parent and child. All right, and this is important for the separation of concerns. So the UI view does not handle any logic on the view. All right, so let's keep it that way. Let's build it around to make sure. Okay, that's built. Okay, everything looking good so far. Now let's head over to the categories view controller and start setting up everything. So we need a view, right? Let's call it categories view. Categories view. So let's create this categories view. Command N, new file, Swift file, categories view, create UIKit. Okay, this is my shortcut. Let's call it welcome view. Welcome view. Let's just put here like the background color blue. Well, we'll get back here and add to the view like setup and layout. This is font, right? Okay, let's just add view.sview, categories view. Okay, and here we pin to the edges as we did before. All right, categories view that pin to the edges of view. All right, let's build and run. Okay, welcome screen, get started. You red. Oh, because the controller is overriding. So we'll go to the categories here, click this. Okay. Black screen, why? All right, we have the categories view here. We add in the categories view. We have here, of course, I forgot to call again. Oh man, this happens so often. All right, blue screen. Yep, blue screen. Okay. Now I want to remove this back button. You know, we have here just define products, right? So I want to set up this navigation. So to set up the navigation, I'm going to create a function, set up navigation controller. Here, I'm gonna set the title to find products, right? Find products. And I want to remove the back button. Set hides back button to true and animated to false. I don't want to be animated, the removal. All right, let's build. Okay, get started. Okay, we need to call it, right? I keep forget to call this stuff. Jesus. Okay, set up navigation controller. All right, find products, blue screen. Let's make it white. Where is the color here? No, it's not here. Let's make it white. Okay, find products, looking good. All right, so now what we need to do, we have this search bar and we have this grid. In UIKit, to build a grid like this, we need to use a UI collection view control that will group together these items on this grid-like layout. All right, let's start with the search bar first. In UIKit, we have a search bar already. We have this UI search bar that builds exactly this. Okay, so we have the placeholder tags with this, which is search store. All right, yep. And minimal is the style of the search bar. There is others. Translate out resize mask into constraint as always. And yeah, let's set up the constraints. Yes, layout constraint, activate and activate. All right, I'm just gonna copy and paste here to save us time, because in the previous tutorial I already explained a little about the out layout. So yeah, we can have here this, and we need to add subviews search bar. Okay, so I'm just saying that the top anchor of the search bar is here, is pinned to the top anchor of the view, right? But I'm using this safe area layout guide that respects the safe area of the screen. In iOS development, that's this concept of safe area, so we need to respect that, and by 8 points here. All right, and here's the leading and trailing by 24. Okay, since here is 4, right? Let's build and run. Okay, we have here the welcome store, and get started. Unable to activate constraints. Okay, this error happen usually when we don't add the subview to the view before setting up the constraints. So yeah, setup view is not called here. I need to adjust my code snippet. Okay, let's build and run. Okay, get started. Yeah, we have a search bar, although seems a little off, the 24 here compared to this, so just gonna make it smaller a little. Let's say 20. All right, okay, looking a lot better. And now we need to create the collection view. As I said, we're gonna use a collection view to build this grid here. Okay, it's gonna copy and paste here. Okay, here we have the UI collection view. You need to set up the layout to create this UI collection view flow layout. This is the scroll direction, which is the vertical here, right? And then we create the collection view with the layout. The frame is 0 because we're gonna use out layout, so there's no frame for this. I'm removing the scroll indicator that appears here on the right corner here. This has been set as always to false, and that's it. Let's set up the constraints. And here just set up the constraints, so I'm gonna set this to 20 as well. And yeah, let's add to the view, collection view, build and run. For now, nothing will show up because it's an empty collection view. Okay, there's nothing here, so let's create the items. But before creating the cards, there's some setup that we need to do. Let's head over to the categories view controller. So you'll see the UI collection view use a pattern called delegate. You may have heard already. So to control that collection view, I need to conform to the delegate protocols of the collection view. Okay, so here I'm creating an extension, right? Categories view controller, and I need to conform to the UI collection view delegate, the UI collection view data source, and also to the UI collection view flow layout, delegate flow layout. So these protocols will provide me with methods that I called on the UI collection view, and it will pass this message to me so I can set up everything. What do I mean by that? So as you can see here, we have the number of items in section and cell for item at index path. So here I'm just gonna return like 10 for now. All right, this will be the number of items, so I'm gonna have a list of items, so I'm gonna pass the count, you see. And here on the cell for item in section, I need to return the cell. What is the cell? The cell is the item. This item is one cell of the collection view. All right, so here is where I'm gonna set up the cell. I'm just gonna return an empty cell, collection view cell, just to stop complaining here. So for this, we need to create this UI collection view cell. Okay, so let's start creating here the card cell. Okay, I'm gonna call it category. I'm gonna use my generic view snippet. Let's say category card cell, but then there's a difference. I need to inherit it from the UI collection view cell. Okay, and this one here should be here as well. And okay, so I'm inheriting from this cell. So what do we need on this cell? We have here an image on the center here, I mean kind of the center, and the title, right? And the view also have this like outline here outside. This is a darker outline. Okay, let's build it. So I'm gonna drag and drop here the element, save us time. So we have the UI image view here and the title. All right, so why I'm not setting here the image and the text? Well, because this cell is gonna be set dynamically, so I'm not gonna set this just yet, but you see how it's gonna be. So here, just I wouldn't forget here. Okay, let's set up the view. So we need to add these two elements to the view. The UI collection view cell has an intrinsic view that's called content view, and need to add the subviews. Okay, gonna add the image and the title. Okay, and here I'm gonna lay out the constraints to make it easier. I'm gonna paste here, so you know how it goes. I'm just setting the top, the leading, the trailing, and the height of the card. All right, and the title, just the top to the image view bottom by 8, the leading, the trailing, and the bottom. You see how everything is connected. So the bottom anchor of the title closes the bottom, and the image view top anchor closes the top, and the leading and trailing by both. See, everything is tight here. We need to keep that in mind always when we have problems with constraints. Everything should be tight. Okay, there's more stuff we need to do here. You see we have here the corner radius. You have this border. Okay, so on the style, I'm gonna say layer dot corner radius. I'm gonna say like 12, and the border width, let's say 2. Okay, so the border color I'm gonna set also dynamic because it will change according to the card, right? I'm gonna match the color of the card. So for now, just for us to see this card, I'm just gonna set the background color to like red, so we can see the card on the screen. Oh, content view dot background. Oh, background color. It should be background color. Background color dot red. Okay. Yep. So yeah. On the controller here, there's more setup we need to do to see those cards. First of all, we conformed here to the delegate in data source, but never tell the controller which one would be the delegate. What do I mean? So on the controller that's controlling this collection view, we have to set up the delegate. So we have the categories view, which is where we have our collection view, right? So we need to set the delegate of this collection view to our controller. So here we have the categories view. We're gonna access the collection view and set the delegate to self. So I'm just saying that the delegate of this collection view is this view control, and I need to do the same thing to the data source. Data source self, because the data source of the collection view is this controller. All right. So now I want to return those cards here. So I need to set the category card cell here. Imagine this cell for item at index path as a for loop, where it's gonna go on all the items and set up each item according to the index. You know, when we set a for loop and we do something with the index of that loop, is the same thing here. It's just looping through it, all the items you set here and setting up the cell. So I'm gonna create the cell here. We need to unwrap it because I'm gonna unwrap this UI collection view cell as a category card cell. So I need to create here the cell, collection view, dequeue reusable cell with identifier, and we need to set here an identifier. Let's say category card cell. For index path, which is the index path that we have here, okay, and we need to cast it to our category cell here as category card cell. Okay, else we're gonna return an empty UI collection view cell. Okay, and here we return the cell. Okay, but what is complaining here? Return. We need to return the cell. Okay, we return the cell. I want to return a red card because I set it here, and we set here the number of cells, so we should return 10 head cards. But we need to set up this reuse identifier to the collection view. So we go to the categories view controller, the categories view, and we need to register here that identifier. So we call here collection view dot register. Okay, so it's category cell, category card cell dot self. All right, and the identifier is, I'm just copy and paste to not mess up this. Okay, categories view here, so we have the same identifier. Okay, this step is really important. We need to register the cell here, otherwise the cast will fail on the controller here. So we set up everything on this cell and just return the cell. Let's speed it run. Okay, we have the welcome view when we click get started. All right, we have here the 10 cells. You know, the card is small now because we didn't set up the internal views here. So the intrinsic size, he didn't cap the size because it's empty. Okay, so now we need to set the image and the text inside, so the view, the cell will show the correct items for each cell. Okay, so what we need to do to set up this cell? Remember that I said that we're gonna change everything dynamically. So what we need to change? We need an image, we need the text here, we need the color of the card, and we need the border color of the card. Okay, so we need to create here a model that will receive all this information and pass to the view. So I'm gonna create here the category card model. So what we need a title, which is a string. We need an image, which is UI image. We need the color of the card, which is white color, and we need a border color, right, which is also a white color. So I need to receive this model here to pass the information to the objects. So we have the category card model, but I also need to make it optional, because otherwise, if it's not optional, I need to set this on the init. So I want to initialize this dynamically, so this needs to be optional. Okay, so here the other thing I want to do and make it a did set here. What this did set means? It means when we set the model should be var. When we set the model, it will do something. So I want to create a function called bind that will bind all the information we need. So when we set the model, did set the model, it's called bind. Okay, so I'm gonna create here the function bind. Func bind, okay, that we need to set up everything on the view. So what we need to set up? We need to set up the image, the title, the background, and the border. So first I need to unwrap because this is an optional. I have optional. So but let model equal model, else return. All right. So the image view image is gonna be the model dot image. All right. The title label text is gonna be the model dot title. The background color of the view, background color, is gonna be the model dot color, and the border color is gonna be the model dot border color. Okay, so here, as I explained to you, when the model is set, the bind will be called, and we'll set up everything here. What's complaining here? Oh, because the border color is a CG color, so we need just to call it the CG as a CG color here. Okay, everything looking good. Let's build. Okay, succeeded. All right. So for this, I created the view model with a list of cards already to make it easier for us. So I'm gonna head here to the view model, create a new file, categories view model, create. And here I'm just gonna drag and drop the view model so it make it easier for us. So here I just pasted this view model. We're not gonna build any service layer to make a network call to return the items. Maybe in the future I can make something like this, but for simplicity I just create this list here that sets the title, right? The image that's getting from this extension here, the images, okay? The color and the border color. I'm getting everything from the extensions and helpers that I copy and paste here in the previous tutorial. All right, I repeated some items here, so we have a scrollable collection view to make it scroll vertically, so we see working. And now we need to set up this view model on the controller. So let's head to the categories view controller. We need a view model. Categories view model. Okay, so now we have this list here. You need to pass the number of items for the collection. So here, instead of 10, I want to return the view model dot categories list dot count. This is return the number of items here on the categories list, this category. Okay, you see that the categories list is a list of card model. Okay, it's the model that I created here. Okay, so conveniently, when we set the model from this category list, it will set each card. Remember that I said here that is like a for loop. So we're gonna access this category list by index and set each item, each cell by the index of the categories list. So we need here to create an item. Let's say item. The item is gonna come from the view model, categories list, index, categories list. We need to pass the index path dot row, which is the integer index of this loop that I told. Okay, so it's gonna go of each item of this list and set this item, okay, this item of this categories list according to the index path. Now I need to set the item here, so we'll populate the view with the correct information from the view model. So I'm gonna come here in the cell dot model, which is this model, and I'm gonna set the item because each item is a model. Remember here? Okay, let's build and run. Okay, get started. Well, everything looks small. Why is that? Let's check what we did wrong. Okay, Dun, dun, dun. Layout is called here. Oh, I see. Look, we set everything here, but we didn't set the size of the card, the size of the cell. We need to call here the collection view layout. Collection view layout for item. Yes. So we need to return the size of each cell. So CG size, I remember that I set something like 170, I think, by 180 or 160, something like that. And now for each item on this list, it's gonna set this size. Okay, so let's see now. Beautiful. Okay, everything is looking good. I think I can increase the constraints here on the sizes. So let's go to the view, not locum view, the categories view here. Let's put here 24 and minus 24. So it's aligned with the search bar. Okay, looking really good here. So you see, every item is set dynamically according to the model. So we have the categories list here that's set for each index, the item, which is this model that when set call bind, and the bind will set up everything. You see how everything connects? And I think it's pretty much it, guys. We have here a scrollable here. I'm not gonna build here the functionality of the search bar, maybe in a future tutorial, but that's it for today's tutorial. In the next video, I'm gonna build the same app with SwiftUI. I don't think it's gonna take more than one video, because UIKit, you know, is a lot more code to write. In SwiftUI is pretty simple to build this layout and also this one. And I think that's it. This is the UIKit version. I hope you enjoy, and I see you on the next video. Bye bye.